Welcome to Dust to Grace, where gumption meets grace and real life gets lived out loud. I am so glad you're here. Have you ever missed out on the shared moment everybody else was having together because you were off doing something else quieter, something all on your own? That's where I want to take you today. Not to the fireworks, but underneath them, to the place where rodeo and soccer and even an ordinary family kitchen table in this country turned out to be on the same road after all. Every 4th of July, growing up, we didn't go to the parade. We went to the rodeo. That is just what our family did. Dust, heat, barrel racing, roping, the whole day out at the arena, all of us together. I remember one 4th of July in particularly, 1976, the bicentennial, 200 years of country, and every town for miles around was throwing a big parade, the biggest parade ever. Flags on every porch, bands warming up down Main Street. And we were out at the rodeo instead. Same as always. My mom was running barrels that day, and she hit one. Knocked it flat, right there in front of everybody. I remember how heavy that day sat with her. 2 disappointments. She disappointed her kids, missing the one parade the whole country was buzzing about, and then not even having a clean run to show for choosing the rodeo instead. I could feel it coming off of her the rest of the drive home, like she'd given something up for nothing, and disappointed her kids as well. I didn't understand that feeling then. I understand it now. Years later, just this past year actually, I sat across from a 98-year-old veteran, World War II, a man who had lived through the whole thing, combat, losing buddies, 80 years worth of stories that he could have handed me. But he handed me this one. Do you know what he told me? He told me about the day he got drafted. And he said his mama didn't do any work inside the house, didn't go to town. She stood out in the yard from sun up and stayed there all day, so she wouldn't miss the moment the bus that was carrying him, that he was on, just so she could wave at him. 80 years. And that's the story he reached for? Not the medals, not the battles. His mama in the yard, waiting so that when his bus went by, she could wave at him. That's a different kind of patriotism than the one we usually talk about on the 4th of July. Not flags and fireworks, the patriotism of a woman standing still in her own front yard, loving her son enough to wait for him so she could wave and watch him go. Here's what I want you to know from the brain health side of me. Why does a 4th of July from 1976 still live in me clear as a photograph? 50 years later, why did a gentleman's story, a story he was carrying 80 years, land in my chest the moment he said it, like it was my own memory? It's your amygdala. Your amygdala is the part of your brain built to flag anything charged with emotion. Fear, love, grief, pride, and tell your brain, don't file this one away in the regular pile. Keep this one. The stronger the feeling, the deeper the groove it wears. That's neuroplasticity. Your brain literally rewiring itself around what matters most. That's why a man can forget what he had for breakfast, but at 98, the memory of his mother in that yard is still the clearest thing he owns. And here's the part that gets me every time. His story just didn't live in his brain. It moved into mine, sitting across the table from him. That's your mirror neurons at work. The wiring that lets your brain respond to someone else's story, almost like you lived it yourself. It's the same wiring that lets you cry at a stranger's wedding or your throat tighten at the sound of the national anthem, even when you didn't serve a day in your life. That's not just being sentimental. That's biology. God built us to carry each other's stories like our own. That's how a family stays together for 4 generations. That's how a country, 300 million people, 300 million strangers, can still stand up together for one song. I used to think rodeo and soccer were 2 different roads. One's mine and one belongs to different families, different backgrounds, and different everything. But the longer I watch, the more I see it's really the same road at heart. Love, loyalty, and belonging, just wearing different boots. Because when I watch either one now, I don't just see athletes. I see people carrying histories out onto the field or into that arena. The weight of their families, the songs of their countries, the prayers of their mothers who just want them to be safe. And that's what I want to carry forward out on that same road. Not just the grit to compete or the hunger to win, the softer things underneath it. Showing up, waving, even when it hurts to watch them go. Holding loyalty with tenderness. Teaching the next generation that love, when it's real, is the whole inheritance. So here's what I'd ask of you today on the 4th of July. 1. Family story out loud to someone younger than you. Out loud, not a text, a story that wears the deepest groove in your brain when it is spoken with your voice. 2. Let yourself feel both things at once, the pride and the ache, the gratitude and the grief. Your nervous system can hold both. That's not confusion. That's the fullness of a life well lived and well loved. 3. Show up somewhere quiet today, not for the fireworks, for the person who needs you standing in the yard, watching for them to come home. A mother missing a parade over a bell race, a mother standing in a yard watching a bus carry her son to war. Different decades, different heartbreaks, but the same road. Showing up, loving hard, letting go anyway. Breathe, lean, hope, believe, grow. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're one breath away from the grace life has for you. Real stories, real struggle, real grace. Take the breath, lean in. I'm Lisa Anders, and I'll see you next time. Have a grace-filled 4th of July.